Woke up to the sound of a digital chime. A voice called out from somewhere in time. Kevin's words weave like an old-time friend. Podcast tales that never seem to end. Coffee curls its steam up through the air. Mornings like these, without a care. Stories blend with a percolating brew. Kevin's musing's always something new. Morning brew with Kevin on the line. Sipping slow, losing track of time. The world unfolds in our little ear. Podcast wisdom crystal clear. Speaks of dreams and faded lace, of city lights and a quiet place. Faces through the earbuds, vivid scenes. Life's tapestry through encrypted memes. Kevin's voice, it's a morning hymn. Sunrise sermons on a whim. In the silence of our crowded minds, his tales like ancient hidden signs. First cup's gone, but the stories flow. Caffeine buzz in the early glow. Listeners caught in a reverie. Morning magic through the frequency.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Morning Coffee with Kevin. I'm your host, Kevin Peterson. Hey, so I wanted to say to my listeners before we really get too deep in today's show, I just want to say that I know that last week's episode was pretty heartfelt and pretty heavy. And that is one thing that I never want this show to be. I never want to lay my problems on you, the listener. But I felt that it was therapeutic that I speak to my listeners on why we had been away for a while and what was going on with me. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who had responded and just all the kind words. And I was right. There's a few people who have been through what I've been through, and they had stories to tell and things to say, and just everything that I received was so uplifting and positive. And I just want to say thank you to the listeners who wrote in, and just thank you for all of your kind words. And I want everybody who listens to the show to know that I appreciate the fact that you tune in every week or whenever a new show's out. And I just truly am so grateful to every one of you for everything that you have done to help promote the show, to keep the show going, and just thank you for your friendship. And I just love all of you, and you're like my remote family, if you will. So anyways, let's get into today's show. And I want to talk about CD releases. And I had mentioned in this episode last week that I have, even though I've been away from podcasting and kind of just, been doing my own thing and dealing with, my issues, I had mentioned that I have been staying busy. And my record label, Manila Dawn Records, is going to be very busy in the next few months with releases. Now, the first big releases that we have coming are a series of specialty records that my label is putting out, and they're a nature series. They're a collection of nature recordings. I'm very excited about this. This is something that I had wanted to do from the time I was very young. And when I say very young, I would say probably in junior high. I don't even think I was in high school yet. And I used to love to go to the mountains and take my portable recording equipment. And, back then, portable meant something completely different than what it means now. Back then, a portable piece of equipment was 50 or 60 pounds. Nowadays, you're talking just a few ounces. It's pretty amazing how technology's changed. But anyways, I used to love to take my portable gear and go to the mountains and just record a stream or the birds or other animal sounds or just other nature sounds. And it was something that I really wanted to do. It was something that I had just had a vision of at some point releasing nature recordings. Well, long story short, let's fast forward to 2024, and we're talking probably, I don't know, I think I originally got into doing this probably around 1979. I guess it was around 79. It was right after I formed my first record label. So, yeah. So let's fast forward to 2024. And, at this point, I still have never released any nature recordings. So, it's probably about time. I think I've waited long enough. And so last year and the year before, I was online in a forum for recording engineers, and I met a gentleman who was living in the Ukraine, of all places. Everything that's been going on over in the Ukraine, I mean, it's just so tragic. But with everything going on in the Ukraine, I thought, how odd is that this guy lives in the Ukraine? But anyways, we began talking. We were talking about different recording techniques and just technologies, and we kind of became friends. And kind of like I'm friends with you, my remote friends, and we really started getting to know each other. and we started talking, and wouldn't you know, this guy, from the time he was a child, always wanted to release nature recordings, but never had. And I thought, my God, that sounds just like me. Well, so after much discussion, we decided to collaborate and do some recordings. And this gentleman went out in the field. He had some extremely portable equipment, and he had the correct kind of equipment to go out into nature, into different situations, thunderstorms, rainstorms. He just had the proper equipment to do these kind of recordings. So he went out in the field and did the initial recordings. Hours and hours and hours of recordings. He then sent the recordings to me, and I did the editing, I did the mixing, I mastered the projects, and I'm going to release the projects here in the U.S. under my label, and he is going to release the projects in the Ukraine and a couple other places in the surrounding areas under his label. And we came to this agreement. We thought it would be a great idea. So the first two recordings in this series are going to be available in October. So I'm very excited about this. I really do not know that we're going to do a CD release party. Because of the nature, of the recordings. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to quietly release them, and hopefully they do well. I'm allowing my listeners to, comment on this podcast. I would like a copy. Give me your name. Contact me through Manila Dawn Records, if you like, at maniladawnrecords@gmail.com. Send me an email and just give me your name and say, I would like you to reserve a copy of the recording for me, and I would be glad to do that. I mean, we are not a huge record label like Warner Brothers or Capitol. I mean, I've worked in those places, but we're not a major label like that. We're an independent label. We're a small label with just a few employees. So therefore, I can handle things this way. So if you are interested and you want to reserve your copy of either of those recordings, one is a wonderful thunderstorm in the woods. It's just a beautiful recording. And the other is a running creek in the woods. Beautiful recordings. And with the technology we have, I was really able to do wonders with these when I mastered them. And the detail and the quality of the recording is just so amazing. So I'm looking forward to putting both of these out very soon. Like I said, you can contact me through my email and just say, hey, can you please reserve me a copy? We are going to do these in limited edition, in physical copies. They're going to be available only on compact disc at this time. We have decided that we are not going to put these out in any other format other than it'll be available on, most streaming platforms, download platforms. Anywhere you would go to get your music, you will be able to find these recordings. But if you want a physical copy, they are only going to be available on compact disc for now. And we're going to do this in limited quantities, just to see how the response is to the recordings, to the, just whether it takes off or doesn't take off. We kind of want to see where they go first. And then if if it turns out that there's a huge response, then of course we will release a second edition. And as most of you know, later in life, anything that is a first release, first edition, is always going to have a little more value than a second or third release, just like with a book or anything else. So if you're interested, let me know, and we will reserve a copy for you. Like I said, we're doing these in limited edition, so only, there's only going to be so many available. I don't even know. I think we're going to do the first run of this series. I can't remember. I think we're going to do 1,000. I think we were going to do 1,000 of these. So that's a pretty small lot of CDs, and we'll see how they go. But anyways, we're going to do this very soon, and hoping that, like I said, I hope it does well. I hope the listeners are interested. I hope everybody's interested. I just hope it does really well. But I think I've said that enough. So moving on, my record, the Kevin Peterson Band, this is our debut release. It's called Electric Nightmares, and the self-titled song, Electric Nightmares, will be performed live on the next podcast. So next week, my band will be on the show. I think we're going to do 2 songs. I think we're going to do Electric Nightmares and a track called Dirty Love. Both of these songs were produced, written, and arranged by myself. So I'm very proud of this record. To be honest, I wrote every song. I wrote every single song on this record. I wrote the lyrics. The arrangements I had some help with. Actually, my guitar player, who is an amazing guitar player who played on this record, Jeff, he helped with the arrangements. And he just has an ear for that. I'm still working on it. I've never really been a writer. I've never really been one to arrange a new song, but I'm good at hearing something for the first time and knowing what sounds right. And I guess that's why I'm a good engineer. But anyways, really looking forward to my record coming out before the end of the year. I'm really looking forward to The Sounds of Nature. And I had mentioned on the last episode the debut album from a band called Electro Lounge, which I was kind of heavily involved with early on, and we called it Kevin Peterson's Electro Lounge. Well, the band kind of wanted to go in a different direction than I did, so I distanced myself from them. I still work with them. I still release their material under my label. I still help with some of the arrangements on the album, but I'm not near as involved as I used to be. But the debut album, which I wrote the majority of the stuff that's on it, and I'm not trying to shoot myself in the foot here, but probably not my best work. It's probably not my best work, but it's good work. And, the band was happy with it. I was happy with it. All of the music that I wrote for that album, and I say I wrote it all, that's actually not true. There's 3 songs on there that I did a collaboration with another producer who goes by the name Lipper. And he helped with 3 of the tracks on there, so I might as well mention him. But that record is going to be available this year too. So I'm really looking forward to getting these CDs out and having a CD release party, obviously, for my band. I don't know what we're going to do for Electro Lounge at this point. We'll probably do a CD release party for them also. And then for the Sounds of Nature series, we'll probably just quietly release those into the public. I will let you know on the podcast when it's online, when you can start streaming, when you can start downloading. And like I said, if you're interested in a physical copy of the Nature recordings, please let me know. Send me an email. Just, hey, Kevin, I'm interested. Here's my name. Give me some way to contact you, and I will make sure that a copy or two gets set aside for you. Anyways, that's about all I got for you today. I just promised that I would be back in a week, and here I am. So I'm really going to try, people. I'm really, really going to try to keep up the once-a-week podcast. If for some reason I'm just not feeling up to it, I'm not going to do it. If I've got other things that need to be done, then I'm not going to do it. But I'm really going to try, because it's important to me to put out something for my listeners. And again, I really, truly appreciate all of the kind words, all of the get well soons. It just really means a lot to me, and I just want to say thank you for that, and thank you for tuning in. The last thing that I want to say, and it's important, because I don't know if everybody believes in karma, but I do. And I think what goes around comes around, and I think the way you treat people, the way you do things, I think it comes back to you in life. And it may not come back overnight, but it will come back. So I want to end the podcast just by saying, and I've said it many times in other podcasts, be good to yourself. Be good to your family. Be good to your neighbors. Be good to a stranger. Just do something nice. Put it out into the universe. It will come back to you. Peace. You're listening to Morning Coffee with Kevin, and I'm your host, Kevin Peterson. We'll see you soon.